As you remember in previous episode, we were wrapping up all our fares in our beloved new San Andres. All I can tell you is everyone loved this island, and I personally am thinking very seriously about returning here after the rally. But for now, as is the life of a sailor, it's time to move on. So we set our bow to the sea and it's on to the next adventure. Providencia, here we come. Something else I thought you guys might find interesting is the fact I'm running Sophisticated Lady under locked helm right now. So we are not running under autopilot, we're not hand steering, but we've actually locked the helm. Now we can do that because we're running straight upwind. This course is one of the few that I've had in a long time where we're actually riding right on the wind to get to Providencia from San Andres. And we're keeping the wind right now as hard as we can at which is about 45 degrees off the starboard bow. So that's about as high as you can run on any cruising monohull. I mean, the racing monohulls can probably get a lot closer, maybe even 30 degrees something, but when you get too close, the problem is you slow down because you lose lift over the sails, and when you slow down, you may be able to maintain your pointing, but when you slow down, and we have a westbound current that's heading towards the coast here, the current starts to take you westbound faster than you're actually moving forward, so you lose a lot of your headway to leeway. So you have to be careful of that. You don't really want to lose too much of your forward speed or momentum, or you end up just losing a lot to the current in the ocean. So what we do, basically with Sophisticated Lady, I mean, I know this boat very well, and with a good set of sails on her and balance the jib and the mainsail together, you can balance the leeward pull and the forward lift of the two sails. And then I put in about 5 to 6 degrees of helm to port, like to the leeward side of the boat. So that gives us exactly what we need. Like, you always want to have a little bit of weather helm on the boat when you're traveling straight upwind. So that's how I've locked the helm. I've locked with about 5 to 6 degrees of weather helm, and then I fine-tune the helm by about a half a degree at a time, just moving the wheel, you know, just an inch this way or an inch that way until I get it figured out where exactly the boat wants to be balanced, where it stays on track. And it won't stay dead on track, but it'll actually steer itself better through the wind and waves than the autopilot can do on its own, because the autopilot will keep you on a dedicated track, but it doesn't compensate for little shifts in the wind or the waves or anything like that. It just, like, boom, we're going 030 and that's it. If the wind shifts from 030 to 040 or to 025, as it often does, because as you know, ocean currents and everything moves, and the air out here does the same thing, and it'll shift little bits here and there, even 5-10 degrees. So you could put the auto helm on auto vane or wind vane mode or something like that, but that's a really tiny little wind vane up there, and it's not all that accurate for doing this, whereas the boat can do it very well on its own. So like I said, you just balance the two sails, set them both for their upwind, their most efficient upwind position, and then just balance your helm and just keep steering little bits at a time until the boat stays on track. You need at least about 14-15 knots of wind to do that. More is better, because without the pressure on the mainsail, the boat won't come back upwind. So if you have it on locked helm and then the wind dies or anything, chances are you're gonna round off the wind. The boat's gonna fall off away from the wind because there's no pressure on the mainsail to push it back upwind. Because ultimately it's the mainsail that keeps your nose wanting to force up into the wind. So by having the mainsail a little oversheeted to windward and then balancing out the jib with it, what happens is as the wind is coming off the starboard bow, the mainsail drives the bow up until it can't push it up anymore, and then the jib catches its most efficient curve and it pulls the bow down a little bit, and then the two of them just keep doing this, and the boat will just keep doing this, just like a fish in the water, and it'll just keep swimming its way up through the wind and the waves. And it's really amazing to watch the boat just handle itself and steer itself upwind like that. It does such a great job, but I just lock it and leave it. So that's what we've been doing today, and that's it. And the boat actually goes faster when it's controlling itself than when it's on autopilot, because if the autopilot is just going in a straight designated line, but the wind shifts up a little bit, you know, even 5-10 degrees, the boat will slow down. It'll lose its momentum and wait until the wind comes back around the starboard side again, and then it will pick back up. Whereas if you're with a locked helm, the wind slows down a little bit, the boat veers off until it feels the pressure on the sail again, and it keeps its momentum and its speed going, and then it just follows around through to the next gust. So it's really cool, and it's simple. It doesn't use any electricity. It's a brake for the autopilot, a brake for us. And all you gotta do is just watch and make sure you stay on course, because if there's any major shifts, then the boat's obviously going to not be able to compensate for that because the wheel's locked. So there's compromises with everything, but today's the perfect day to run the locked helm, and that's what we've been doing ever since we left San Andres. And it's been climbing to windward better than the autopilot was, so thumbs up to that. But we are almost in Providencia, so I'd say another 2 hours and we should be getting into anchor, and we'll take it from there. Okay, we're unloaded. Hang on. And this is where we realized we had a problem. When we had set sail from San Andres, we had unfurled the jib without realizing that as the jib had unfurled, the furling line had skipped out of the furling basket and wrapped itself hard around the forestay. This was a problem because the sail's fully loaded, so we can't unwind it to correct the issue and furl the sail in. Now we're left with only one choice. I'm back here keeping the sail unloaded while Alcino is up front trying to untangle the line from the forestay without his fingers getting caught in the pressure. A bit tricky to say the least.
Tiki? Are we going back to San Andres? Or are we still going to Providencia? She's right there. Or we go in the opposite direction? I think because we're fixing something. Oh yeah. We are fixing something.
Bye-bye, Providencia. It was nice to see you.
Short and sweet.
Okay. But lucky for us, we weren't in much worse conditions, and it didn't take long to get the problem, well, at least solved enough that we can worry about the rest once we get safely anchored. We got the problem semi-resolved for now, not fixed, but furled.
What was the problem?
Well, the furling line came off the furler and wrapped itself hugely around the forestay, so there was no way to furl it in.
That was earlier this morning.
That was when we first let it out. So now we're just going to furl in the sail, which he's already got it furled in, and we're going to get into anchor, and we can deal with it at anchor. turn on one alternator when we're going to drop anchor again. Okay, bringing her upwind. So with that, we dropped the mainsail and started to thread our way through the last reefs as we headed in towards the final anchorage. And it was just about then when we got our first greeting by a bunch of the rally members. They had all contracted a local boat to go out for a day of snorkeling, and they had spotted us on our approach as we were messing about with the jib, so just stopped by to make sure everything was good. Like I said, always good to have somebody watching your back.
Saturday we gonna have some fun. Come and party, don't you stand behind. Come with us, we gon' dance all night. Oh, la, 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 la.
You know, they say timing is everything, and it doesn't get much better than dropping your hook and getting the boat secured just in time for happy hour. So with that said, we heard that there was a bunch of ralliers going to meet at one of the bars on the beach, so we got the dinghy lowered and set up, and off we went for our first taste of Providencia.
Saturday we gonna have some fun. Come and party, don't you stand behind. Come with us, we gon' dance all night. Oh, la, 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 la. Put your hands and hit your thighs. Run you close, wave up high. All together on the beach tonight. Move to the left, move to the right.
¿Qué pasa?
How's it going?
Good,
Everything good?
apparently. Yeah. Remarkable for an old guy.
Ahoy, fucker! See, you I can get away with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe that when I see it.
Birthday girl.
No, I don't like that way. Birthday girl, welcome. Hi.
Does he know what's going on yet?
Yes. No, not really. How are you?
Really, yeah. Feeling a little bit older, but other than that, yeah, really good.
Are you the oldest one? I don't tell them.
I think I am the oldest here.
No, you're not. I don't think I think you're younger than
Move your shake that 1, 2, 3. Put your hands and hit your thighs. Run you close, wave up high. All together on the beach tonight. Move to the left, move to the right.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to
You made me look forward to the next 15 years.
Shit!